My name is Daniel. I've been driving Uber for about 8 months now, mostly night shifts, because traffic is lighter and the surge pricing helps with rent. It's not exactly where I imagined I'd end up, but it pays the bills and keeps things simple. Most nights are predictable, quiet roads, a few conversations, nothing out of the ordinary. This all started about 3 weeks ago. It was around 1:30 a.m. when I picked up a rider from a dimly lit street near an old apartment complex. The guy didn't say much, just opened the back door, got in quickly, and gave me the destination. His voice was low, almost flat. I remember glancing at him once in the rearview mirror. He was staring straight at me, not blinking, just staring. The ride itself was quiet. Too quiet. No movement, no phone sounds, nothing. When we reached the destination, I slowed down and said, "Hey, we're here." No response. I checked the mirror again. The door behind me swung open and then shut. Fast. No footsteps, no voice, nothing. I turned around immediately. The back seat was empty. I just sat there, confused, trying to process what I had just seen. Then my phone buzzed. Ride completed. Payment received. I frowned, then shook my head. Maybe he got out faster than I noticed. Maybe I was just tired. People do weird stuff sometimes. I figured it was nothing. 2 nights later, around 2:20 a.m., I got another ride request. I accepted it and drove to the pickup point. A mid-aged man was standing under a flickering streetlight. This time, he opened the front door and sat beside me. "Evening," he said calmly. "Yeah, evening," I replied, starting the ride. Everything felt normal until I checked the destination, a graveyard. I frowned slightly. At that hour, I wasn't quite able to connect the dots at the time, but something about it felt off. We drove in silence for a couple of minutes before curiosity got the better of me. "So, you heading there for work or something?" I asked. He turned his head slowly toward me. "I live there," I blinked. "You live there?" "Yes." I let out a small laugh. "What do you mean you live there? Who lives in a graveyard?" He looked straight ahead and said calmly, "Where do ghosts live? Of course, in a graveyard." I laughed. Actually laughed hard this time. "Okay, man, that's a good one." "I'm not joking," he said. "I'm a ghost. If you don't believe me, that's up to you." I smirked, still playing along. "All right then. What were you doing in the city?" "I went to watch a movie," he said casually. "Sometimes I get bored. I go into the city, watch films, see the lights." I shook my head, smiling. "Yeah, sure. Ghost at the cinema. Buying popcorn too." "No," he replied calmly. "I just stand behind people, watch through them." That made me pause for a second. It wasn't funny the way he said it. There was no humor in his voice, just flat. I forced a small chuckle anyway. "All right, man. You're committed to the bit. I'll give you that." He didn't react, didn't smile, didn't even blink. After a few seconds, he spoke again. "You shouldn't laugh so easily." That made my grip tighten slightly on the wheel. "Why's that?" I asked. "Because sometimes," he said slowly, "you laugh at things you don't understand." The car felt colder all of a sudden. I glanced at him quickly, then back at the road. "Okay, now you're just trying too hard," I muttered. Then he slowly raised his hand. There was blood on it, dark, thick, fresh. My smile disappeared instantly. It didn't look fake. It didn't look like a joke. For a second, the car drifted slightly before I corrected it. My heartbeat picked up. "All right," I said, sharper now. "Enough with this." He kept staring at his own hand, almost studying it. "I told you," he said quietly. "I'm not joking. I exhaled hard, frustration rising now. Yeah, then explain this. If you're a ghost, why are you in my car? Why not just float back to your graveyard or whatever? He turned his head toward me again, slowly. I already told you, he said. I can't. And why not? I snapped. A pause. Then, I've been shot in the leg. That was it. I slammed the brakes. The car stopped in the middle of the road. Okay, enough, I shouted. Get out. I'm done with this. He didn't move. I pointed outside. You said you're a ghost, right? Then vanish. Go on. Just disappear. I was still talking, half my words still in my mouth. And he vanished. Not stepped out. Not moved. Gone. Just gone. My brain couldn't process it. 1 second he was there. The next, empty seat. No sound, no motion, nothing. My chest tightened. My vision blurred slightly. I don't remember much after that. When I came back to my senses, it was still dark. The engine was running. The car was silent. Too silent. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. My shirt felt damp against my back. The air inside the car smelled faintly metallic, like iron. I looked at the passenger seat. Empty. But there was something there. A faint smear. Dark. Like a handprint. Things went from 0 to 100 in about 2 seconds. My phone buzzed loudly in the holder. I flinched. The screen lit up. Ride completed. Payment received. Then, a message popped up. Unknown sender. See you next Friday, same time. My throat went dry. I stared at the screen, trying to breathe normally. Then, a whisper, right next to my ear. You laughed. I jerked my head to the side. Nothing, but I felt it. That presence, close, too close. I don't remember driving back home. Somehow I made it. I locked the doors, checked every room twice, didn't sleep. Just sat there, staring at my phone. Tomorrow is Friday. 2:20 a.m. is getting closer. I don't know if I should ignore it or face it. All I know is, if that request comes again, I don't think I'll be alone in the car. I used to work nights at a 24-hour fitness center during a gap year. The job was easy, too easy. Sit at the desk, watch the cameras, clean occasionally. Most nights, maybe 3 or 4 people came in after midnight. That night started like any other. Around 1:50 a.m., I noticed someone new, a guy on treadmill 12. At first, nothing seemed off until I checked the system. Speed, 9 miles per hour. Fast, but not impossible. What was strange, he didn't stop. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Same speed, no slowing down, no change in breathing. I zoomed in on the camera. That's when I really saw him. Long, messy hair, dirty clothes, barefoot, completely barefoot, and his face, blank, like there was nothing behind it. Then I looked at his feet. Blood. At first, just small marks, then more. Then it started splattering, every step leaving streaks across the belt. My stomach dropped. I stepped out of the office and walked toward him. The closer I got, the worse it looked. The treadmill was soaked, but he didn't react, didn't flinch, didn't blink. I shouted, "Hey, you need to stop." Nothing. I shouted again. That's when he spoke, without turning his head. "Are you watching?" His voice was dry, hollow, like it didn't belong to him. I backed away slowly, went straight to the office, picked up my phone. But before I dialed, I checked the cameras again. He was staring directly into it, still running, still bleeding, smiling now. Then suddenly, he opened his mouth and just held it there. For a moment, nothing happened. Everything went completely silent. Then, he screamed, loud, uncontrolled, and jumped off the treadmill. I started switching cameras, trying to track him. Gone, completely gone, until I opened the hallway camera. There he was, standing right outside the staff office, just staring at the door. I locked it immediately. Seconds later, the handle started shaking violently. He began screaming again, louder this time. Not words, just raw, animal noise. I called the police, barely able to speak. They said 5 minutes. It felt like forever. Then suddenly, silence. The door stopped moving. I checked the cameras again. He was gone. Everywhere. Police arrived and searched the entire building. No trace, no blood trail, nothing. Like he had never been there. I quit the next day. And to this day, I still don't know what he wanted. But I know one thing. He wasn't there to work out. I used to work overnight security at a logistics facility just outside a small industrial town. The shift was always the same, 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. And I was always alone. The place was massive. Rows of storage units, loading bays, and long empty corridors that echoed even the smallest sound. Most nights were painfully quiet. Clock in, patrol the perimeter, sit in the control room, repeat, until one night, it wasn't. It started around 1:10 a.m. One of the exterior cameras picked up motion near Dock 3. That wasn't unusual. Stray dogs, wind, loose plastic. It happened all the time. But this was different. The alert kept coming back. Every 10 minutes. Same camera, same spot. I pulled up the feed again and again. And every time, nothing was there. Just the empty dock and shadows stretching a little too far. By 2 a.m., I'd had enough. I grabbed my flashlight and went outside. Cold air hit me immediately. The ground was slightly damp, but there were no footprints, no signs anyone had been there. Nothing. I went back inside, trying to shake it off. Then at 2:35, I heard it. A slow, metallic dragging sound. Not outside, inside the warehouse. It sounded like something heavy being pulled across concrete. I froze. I checked the cameras. Every single aisle was empty. But the sound happened again, louder this time, followed by a sharp bang. Then something strange happened. One of the cameras, camera 6, flickered. Static. 3 seconds. When it came back, the angle had changed slightly, like someone had touched it. At that point, I knew I couldn't ignore it. I grabbed my radio and went in. The warehouse felt completely different at night. Dim yellow lights, endless aisles, and silence so thick it pressed against your ears. I was halfway down the main aisle when I heard footsteps, slow, measured, from somewhere to my right. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I waited. Nothing. I called out, "Security, identify yourself." No response. I kept walking, checking each aisle one by one. Every corner felt wrong, like I wasn't alone, but I couldn't prove it. I finished the patrol without seeing anyone, but I knew someone had been there. The rest of the shift was quiet, too quiet. In the morning, I reported everything. They checked the building, the locks, the cameras. Nothing was missing. No signs of entry. And no one believed me. But I never worked another overnight shift there again. Because whatever was inside that warehouse, it didn't want to be seen. My name is Mark. I've been working the night shift at a McDonald's on 4th Street for about 6 months. It's not great, but it pays the bills. Nights are usually quiet. Just me, the fryer, and the drive-thru. Most of the time, nothing really happens. But last Tuesday felt off. It was around 2:15 a.m. Dead quiet. I was cleaning the counter when the drive-thru beeped. I looked at the screen. No car. Empty lane. Still, I said, "Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order?" Nothing. Just silence. I thought maybe the sensor was acting up, so I ignored it and went back to work. A few minutes later, it beeped again. This time I waited. Then I heard something. Not a voice, just breathing. Slow, heavy, like someone standing very close to the speaker, but not talking. I leaned out the window to check. No car, no person. That's when I started feeling uncomfortable. I told myself it was just a glitch and went to the back to grab supplies. When I came back, I noticed something strange. The back door. It was slightly open. I was sure I had closed it earlier. I walked up to it slowly and pushed it shut. I even checked the lock this time. That's when I noticed muddy footprints on the floor. They weren't there before. They started near the back door and led into the kitchen. My stomach dropped. I looked around, trying to listen for any sound, but all I could hear was the fryer and my own breathing. I grabbed my phone and pretended to call my manager, just in case someone was actually inside. That's when the drive-thru beeped again. Loud, sharp. It made me jump. I slowly walked to the screen, still empty, but this time I heard something clearer, a whisper. Hello. It didn't sound like it was coming from outside. It sounded like it was inside the building, right behind me. I turned around fast. Nothing. But the footprints, they weren't just in the kitchen anymore. There were new ones, closer, leading toward the hallway near the storage room. Someone was moving while I wasn't looking. I didn't think anymore. I just walked straight to the front, grabbed my keys, and headed for the exit. As I passed the hallway, I heard something move, a small sound, like a shoe sliding on tile. I froze. Then I heard it again, a quiet step, slow, careful, like someone trying not to be heard. I ran. I pushed the front door open and didn't stop until I reached the gas station across the street. I stayed there until morning. The police came later. They checked everything. At first, they didn't find anyone. Then they checked the storage room. That's where they found him. A man, hiding behind the shelves. No uniform, no reason to be there. He had a small bag with him. Inside it were zip ties, gloves, and a knife. They told me he had probably been inside for a while, maybe even before my shift started, waiting. I quit the next day. I still think about it sometimes. If I hadn't noticed the footprints, if I had stayed just a little longer, I don't think I'd be here telling this story.